Hello, my name is Sam Smith, and I will be doing a brief, about 10-minute presentation today about analytics related to a nonprofit organization and how that can be effective within the higher education community. To start off, we'll be talking about a nonprofit organization called Raise.me. Raise.me is an online website that's trying to help high school students access affordable higher education. So ultimately, this is open to all high school students to enhance their class performance. Students are awarded for performing well in high school and being involved. So basically, this can be compared to like a LinkedIn or a Facebook, where students can track everything that they do in high school. So perform well in classes, take challenging AP coursework, maybe volunteer in the community, hold leadership roles in student council or within a sport. And then ultimately, colleges are going to award these students micro scholarships, so very small scholarships between $100 and $5,000 for doing everything they've done and then attending their university. So this very much depends on student and college buy-in. And what I mean by that is the students have to be willing to go in and use the website and log all their information. And then the colleges have to also be on the website and then give students kind of guidelines for what they're going to award them money for. And so ultimately, we know that higher achieving students are more likely to graduate, and then higher education institutions are better off with better prepared students. So Raise.me is, again, a nonprofit platform that is really going to help build the bridge between high school and then giving access to these students to attend higher education institutions. And these students are being enticed with small amounts of scholarships. Now, there is a high school problem right now. So there's a lack of motivation from high school students to attend college. That could be for many different things. I know a lot of students just automatically think either they can't go to college, they can't afford college, or some students, especially in like minority families, sometimes they don't know anything about college, therefore their student never even considers going to college. We also know that our incoming college students and families are financially illiterate, so they don't understand how the financial aid world works, and that is definitely one of the most important aspects of higher education, and we need to be teaching that. So the micro scholarship platform will hopefully help counter these things. So hopefully these students will begin to be motivated about college because they know that they're earning money for doing things they may already be doing in high school, or they may do more in high school. And then the micro scholarship platform also will kind of start showing these students how important money is when it comes to college, and will give them a head start as in the financial aid world. So the real question is, would this platform truly help students, parents, and colleges? Um, is a micro scholarship really going to entice students to go to a university? Are parents going to be willing to let their children use this website? Are colleges really going to buy in and try this website to increase their enrollment? So that's what we'll be looking at today. So analytics, the information that we know. So the earlier college students or high school students learn about college, the more likely they are to attend. Um, Pretty simple. The earlier that the idea is placed in your brain that you can attend a university and that college is going to be a great step in your life, the earlier you learn that, the more likely you're going to attend college. High school students are more likely to perform better with incentives. I think that's also pretty self-explanatory. Most people are going to perform better with incentives whether they want to admit it or not. And better performing high school students are more likely to attend and then succeed at a higher education institution. Excuse me. I think this is one of the most important facts here is that better performing high school students, these students are going to attend but then also succeed at it at an institution. And lastly, on here, high school students who are actively learning about college and visiting college campuses are more likely to attend a higher education institution. So all of these things that we already know are pretty great news for Raise.me. This could definitely start to work towards a successful website platform to help students attend universities. So how will analytics help in terms of our problem? So again, we have millions of high school students, and we have very low attendance in universities from these high school students. So, will these micro scholarships help these students? Well, Analytics are going to help us understand how millions of students across the nation are being enticed to attend college. So, first off, it's going to give us an idea for what is already being done with college students, what works, and what's not working. It's going to help us get a good understanding of who these high school students are and how scholarships are assisting them in the college selection process. So, is the difference of $500 or $5,000 going to really entice these students to go to a four-year university instead of going straight to work or a junior college? We're going to learn how scholarships assist in making the decision for students. So, how big of a scholarship is going to get a student to switch universities or decide to go to a university versus doing something else? And ultimately, analytics are going to help build a strong, lasting nonprofit model to assist college students and universities. So analytics and tracking can really build that bond between the colleges and the student, and hopefully we'll see a boost in enrollment numbers because of that. So analytics could definitely help this turn into a long-term plan. So after doing kind of the research beforehand with all of those big numbers, analytics are also going to help track the model and see how it's working and taking data on all of the Raise.me students and see how they graduate, see how those micro scholarships really helped them as they got to the universities. And it's going to be evidence for either success or failure, and then a big picture as to how to help millions of high school students. So maybe this micro scholarship model isn't really working, but then analytics are also going to show that it's not working, and then ultimately Raise.me will have enough data at that point to see how they could change their nonprofit model to hopefully help these students get enrolled in colleges. So a tentative tool set. Obviously we have a huge problem. We know that with big data we can probably begin to fix it and see if this model will work. But we're working with millions and millions and millions of students' data. So we have a ton of data. It's not something that just a one-man show and a microscope can fix. So I think first off, we'll need a data analytics specialist. So this person is a heavily seasoned veteran in the world of analytics. They know how to crush numbers. They know the right lists to run. They're going to be able to take all of the things that the Raise.me staff wants to know and then run that data to get that information out of there. Without a data analytics specialist, really the information is worthless because unless you can go through and read it and understand how it's working, not worth our time or our money. We're also going to need some kind of software. And kind of the best option that I found for now is called RapidMiner. The coolest thing with RapidMiner is that there is no cost associated, especially from the beginning. So it can be used in several different ways. It can be paid for if you want it to be more advanced. However, to start off, there is no cost associated. So we'll be able to obtain data from state universities to understand how students have been intrigued via scholarships to attend institutions and then figure all of this out. We're also going to be able to obtain information from places like College Board, which is the company that the students take SATs through. We can learn how many students took the SAT and then how many of those students did not attend a university. We can start to understand why that happens and maybe how we can use micro scholarships to reach out to those students and get them to attend universities. And we can learn from institutions how students were successful after receiving scholarships and then how this can be applied to Raise.me. So gaining that information from many, many, many universities, how many students received scholarships, how much those scholarships were worth, and then how those students succeeded in their college because of that scholarship assistance. Ultimately, we know that this is a huge project and there's going to be all kinds of challenges. So technical challenges, this is a completely new type of research for the team, and there will be a learning curve associated with it. I think that is definitely a known fact when anyone's taking on a new challenge with new personnel and new software. So there's limited experience with big data tools like RapidMiner. And then culturally, we're going through huge numbers of data. There's always some sort of bias when we're doing that. So trying to make sure that bias doesn't appear and understand that there are other culture differences and there are differences in motivation and grades and things like that, and trying to let our data speak for itself, not get that human error entered in there. Also, huge huge important thing is privacy and ethics. So we're working with student data. We definitely want to keep this information secure. So RapidMiner, we can store things on the cloud, but we want to make sure that if we do store things on a cloud, that they are stored very safe. We don't want to stereotype any students. I kind of talked about that a little bit, but bias is very, very easily incorporated into this data, and we want to make sure that it is as low as possible. So stereotyping and bias, we want to know that this is totally possible and it could be present, but as a team, we want to work together to make sure that there's very little in our project. So kind of a quick summary here. So we know that less high school students are attending higher education institutions, and Raise.me wants to build a platform that helps students understand college, but also helps them eventually attend an institution. So that's where those micro scholarships, the small scholarships, are hopefully going to help high school students from 9th through 12th grade become passionate about higher education, and then will be awarded financially to attend universities. And analytics is going to play a huge role in building a successful platform. So it'll help sort through massive amounts of college and high school student data to understand how micro scholarships may help intrigue high school students to come to college. And analytics will also eventually help track how successfully the micro scholarship platform is going for the Raise.me team. So this is a really interesting concept here. It's a huge idea with huge amounts of students who could eventually be invested in this platform. And it could work out very, very well. But without the role of analytics and personnel who know what they're doing with analytics, it would kind of be a guess and shoot blank kind of scenario, versus using data and analytics will give the Raise.me team a very, very, very good idea of what they're getting into before this really kicks off the ground. So thank you so much for watching my presentation. I hope that you've learned a little bit about Raise.me and how analytics could help them build a very successful platform and help our high school students, or more of our high school students, attend higher education institutions.